You see why he believes there's no such thing as American exceptionalism? Do you happen to have that quote on American exceptionalism? Mm-hmm. The president was his idea, it's almost a mocking idea. Listen to this.
I believe in American exceptionalism, just as I suspect that the Brits believe in British exceptionalism and the Greeks believe in Greek exceptionalism.
Okay, stop. This is what he's saying there is...
We're no better than anybody else. That's what he's saying there. And we're no better than anybody else.
He's going beyond that. He's saying that's just nationalism. That's all it is nationalism. Mm-hmm. Those are the words of a globalist.
He doesn't even understand American exceptionalism. I don't know that he
Explain it.
I don't even if he knows the meaning of the phrase, which is that, America is great, first of all, because America is good, but also because we have the freedom and the liberty here to become our best selves, to become greater than what you can become in other countries because of what the opportunities this nation provides.
You have the opportunity to pursue your happiness.
It's almost in our DNA. I think it is in our DNA.
I think it is. I think it is being cleansed out of our DNA. Let me give you that quote from Lincoln. The philosophy of the classroom in one generation will be the philosophy of the government in the next.
Yep. And look. Here's the thing. We talked about this, too. You brought up his feelings on the Constitution, that it's a charter of negative liberties. He doesn't feel as we do about the Constitution. That's where American exceptionalism begins, with the U.S. Constitution. We all believe, the vast majority of us believe, that that's the foundation for American exceptionalism. The reason we could be exceptional is because of that founding document. Well, he's got a completely different viewpoint on that founding document.
No, he wants to reverse it.
Yeah.
He wants to reverse it.
Yep.
In other words, saying what the government must do and not what the government cannot do. Well, that is the basis. That was the whole idea of the Declaration of Independence. No, restrain the government, because when it gets too big and bloated, it gets out of control and it tries to create everybody or control everybody's lives. And then you have lords and ladies and princes and dukes and duchesses, and people cannot break out of their serfdom. Restrain the government. That is the idea of American independence.
Yeah, you're seeing that what's the opposite of what's happening in Egypt. I mean, in Egypt, they saw a really powerful government, and they didn't like the things they were doing. So they overthrew it, and they are now installing a really powerful government to do things that they want.
No, they're not.
Oh, it's no? Okay.
No, they're going to be free.
They're going to be free. Free. I'm sorry.
Yeah, they're going to be free.
Yeah. Do you miss that whole thing?
I did, the democracy thing.
Look, you know what? I think Bill Kristol was talking about him.
He might have been.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Do you remember? Do you have the audio of Bill Kristol? Let's get the audio of Bill Kristol, because I think, Stu, you're misguided. It's freedom.
So.
Listen.
I think basically for the last 3 or 4 weeks, the skeptics have been proven to be too skeptical. The naysayers have said it could never happen. It's going to be violent.
Like Glenn Beck.
His departure will mean the Muslim Brotherhood taking over the next day, or total chaos in the streets of Egypt. They've been proven wrong. And the notion that the Egyptian people have managed to pull off this democratic, peaceful removal of a dictator, and now have a seemingly pretty stable situation in the streets of Cairo and the other big cities, with a guarantee or at least a promise of a transition to free and fair elections, and no real sense that those elections are going. That those elections are going to go in some terrible direction for the U.S. Or for Egypt itself.
No indication of that.
I think this may be a case where normal worldly pessimism is too pessimistic.
Bill.
So smart.
Oh, gosh.
From the news today, a growing number of Egypt's 8 to 10 million Coptic Christians are looking for a way to get out, as the Islamists are increasingly taking advantage of the nationalist revolution that toppled longstanding dictator in February. Egypt Daily News reported on Tuesday that lawyers, quoting, who specialize in working with Coptic Egyptians, say that in the past few weeks they have received hundreds of calls from Coptics wanting to leave Egypt. They are insisting on leaving Egypt because the risks of staying here are now too great. Many Christians are afraid of the future because of the fanatics in the mosque. mosque. Already 20 Christians have been killed in violence since the ouster of Mubarak.
No, it was a peaceful democratic revolution. And now, an Egyptian military tribunal has convicted a blogger of insulting the army. He insulted them. So they convicted him and sentenced him to 3 years in prison. You can't have bloggers insulting you in a democratic revolution. Thank you, Bill Kristol. Thank you.
Are you being pessimistic again, Pat?
No,
that seems overly pessimistic.
I am glad they put him in jail because you can't have...
Ahmadinejad said yesterday that a new Middle East without the presence of Israel, the U.S., and their allies is coming. He accused Israel and the U.S. of having plotted to spark an Iranian-Arabian Shia-Sunni conflict, and regional governments and nations should remain vigilant to an outcome for the U.S. plots and not play into the U.S. court. The Iranian people and the regional nations are unhappy with the existence of the Zionist regime, Israel, and are against it. And they will continue their fight until the defeat of the U.S. and Israel.
You see how well this is going? Mm-hmm. I'm so tired of all the cynics who were saying that might not go well for Israel or the United States and Egypt.
Yeah. Remember when al-Baradei, the guy who was supposed to be the big hope for sanity in Egypt?
He was very moderate,
one of
very
the
secular.
First things he said was how he started defining terms of how they would go to war with Israel.
Right.
That's unbelievable.
That's great. And then there was this report on Islam in Egypt.
The Muslim Brotherhood has been the focus of Western concern during the rising against Hosni Mubarak in Egypt.
Real
but in the country
conservative,
itself, a different Islamist movement is provoking fears. The Salafi group try to identify themselves with an earlier and, in their eyes, purer form of Islam.
Oh, pure.
And recently they've been blamed for a series of violent incidents in rural areas. Owen Bennett-Jones reports from Cairo.
What?
A Salafi convention in one of Cairo's biggest mosques. Salafi leaders are making the most of their new freedoms in post-revolutionary Egypt, and they say they want the country to have a pure Islamic government.
Wait, what? You mean secular, don't you? You mean secular.
2 hours drive south of Cairo, and a Sufi shrine has been vandalized. Local people say Salafi Muslims caused this damage because they think shrines are un-Islamic.
Shrines are?
What?
They burned down
a mosque. The Salafis deny it, but it's all left many Egyptians very worried.
Why are they pessimistic?
There is a lot of fear in the
that can't be. They had a democratic.
There's a lot of concern. Where are we going?
It was peaceful.
There's no concern.
What's the government doing?
She's got to listen to Bill Kristol.
Ahmed Al-Wakil, married with 2 children, works for an Islamic website. Mm-hmm. He joined the Salafis in his early 20s.
Yeah.
He liked the fact that they wanted to go back to early Islam to find its pure form.
Who doesn't like that?
Many Salafis were slow to take part in the revolution here. But Ahmed and his friends say they now feel more free to participate openly in public life.
Okay, good.
He says it was hard for the Salafis before the revolution, but now they can preach their ideas.
Okay, good. Let's go back to the 800s.
Wait, there's more.
Oh, they're singing. They're singing now.
This channel used to broadcast pop music and dance videos.
But not anymore. Now
then its owners thought they could make more money with religious songs and sermons. Religious broadcasting is increasingly popular in post-revolutionary Egypt.
Religious broadcasting.
Now, here's
the question now is whether religion will play a greater part in politics as well.
Wait, what?
No.
Wait, hold it.
Can you listen to Bill Kristol, people?
Come on.
I think basically for the last 3 or 4 weeks, the skeptics have been too skeptical.
Skeptical.
Who said it could never happen. It's going to be violent.
Yeah, hold on just a second, Bill, because there's one other story that I just want to.
Another secular story about how great things are going.
Very, very, very secular.
U.S.-like constitution brewing over there.
Gaza flotilla organizers are asking the EU now for protection from Israeli threats. Good. They posted a statement on their website saying that we are calling on all governments and the international community and the United Nations not to succumb to Israel's intimidation. Mm-hmm. Quote, governments need to fulfill their responsibility to protect their own citizens.
There's that phrase again.
That's the UN George Soros.
I've heard that.
Cass Sunstein wife phrase. Isn't that weird?
That's weird.
Bill Kristol.
Will mean the Muslim Brotherhood taking over the next day.
Next day. We didn't happen the next day.
Wrong. And the notion that the Egyptian people have managed to pull off this democratic, peaceful removal
democratic
of a dictator,
yes,
and now have a seemingly pretty stable situation in the big cities.
In the
with
big
a
cities,
guarantee or at least a promise of transition,
a pinky swear
elections,
or something.
No
free
real
and
sense
fair.
that those elections are going yet.
No
those
sense
elections
yet.
are going to go in some terrible direction.
For the U.S. or Israel
I think this may be a case where normal worldly pessimism is
really
too
like an
pessimistic.
Idiot. What a total.
What a buffoon.
This, you know what? Let me tell you something. People like Bill Kristol, the old-style Republican guard, it's over, Bill. It is over. You go ahead and do all your little games in Washington with all your little buddies to hold on to your fiefdom, but it's over. People have listened to clowns like you too long. Your day has passed. And if you get your day again, I guarantee you, Bill Kristol, you'll give the next president and the next Republican Congress the same kind of advice you just tried to give the American people on Egypt. Don't worry, it's all going to be fine. Bigger government is best. Don't worry, we've got it all under control. Nothing could possibly happen. People who have been taught to think the world is only this way or that way are going to be the death of us. And people like Bill Kristol have served his country honorably. He has served his country with an honest heart, I believe. I don't know him at all, but I'm assuming that it's an honest heart. I've always thought that he was a smart man. I still think he's a smart man. But it's over, Bill. The world is changing. And you either have to break out of that mindset and understand that, or you are going to help usher in this grand, spectacular, democratic world that people are clamoring peacefully in the streets for all over the world.
The following is a special presentation from Glenn Beck's Twitter account. It's time for another reading of all of the capitalized words from Glenn Beck's actual tweets. AM, radio, you, true, Iran, you, much more mom, oligar, Republicans, Democrats, game over, Bush, internet, today, silent, America pivots, everyone, left, all hate, all third-grade insults. Why? Great, still no refuting facts, news, milk, and Cheetos, too good to be true, find old sound or video, want, do not, very, very, question with boldness, stand, update, TV, and then some. This has been Glenn Beck utilizing his caps lock button on Twitter. Sign up to follow Glenn at twitter.com/Glenn Beck. Now! Exclamation point.
This is the Glenn Beck Program on Mercury Radio Network.